Hello and welcome to another segment of the LPE Author Chat Series. I am your host, Kimmoly K, LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise. And I'm excited to be back on today because this week we are having our special anthology edition featuring authors of the new release, The Black Father Perspective, What We Want America to Know. And our special guest on today is Carlos Avent. So Carlos, welcome to the broadcast. So happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, feeling good.
Good. So welcome to the Author Chat. Let's do this.
Great.
I've been looking forward to the conversation. So let's jump right in.
Yes,
So
sure.
your chapter is Heir to the Throne, the Rightful Place of Fatherhood. What a powerful title. So why don't you tell our audience why you chose that as the title for your chapter?
When I thought about the subtitle of the book, like what we want America to know, I wanted to paint the picture that all fathers are not just children creators and just walk away. I wanted to paint the picture that my father was very much present, and that just like you see on in Disney cartoons and things of that nature, their fatherhood is like royalty. Like it's something that gets passed down, and that's the picture that I wanted to paint. I wanted to show that we too, Black fathers in America, we too have that same lineage of great fatherhood, and that's the picture I wanted to paint.
Amen. So I just wanted to read how you opened your chapter. You said, in order to know where I'm going, you must know where my roots lie. As a father, you are the king of your castle. That is how I saw my father. He commanded respect on his worst day and made you want to listen on any given day. Seeing that in him is what made me want to be like him. I know now at 36 years old, my fatherhood perspective is rooted not only in the father that I have become, but also rooted in the father that I was privileged to see, grow with, and learn from. Like a king passing on the throne to his son, my father's approach to fatherhood is the throne he passed on to me. That was so powerful. And so from that, it's like so evident to see that you have a lot of respect for your father. So what do you feel is the best piece of advice that you received from your father that still has an impact on your life today?
He told me to be better than him. When a lot of times growing up, again, because of that respect factor, I cherish my dad. Like whatever he did, I wanted to be able to do it as well. And he would often tell me, he was like, "No, you be better than me." And even in things that he wasn't proud of, like he was a smoker. For a period of time he was an alcoholic.
Wow.
And even in those moments he would tell me, "No, you be better than me. You don't do this. You be better than me." When he was when I was around, when I was younger, he used to be in construction, and then he switched careers and was working in the markets. So when me being a kid and 10, 11 years old, going to work with him, I would think that I want to do this when I get older. I can do what you do. And he was like, "No, you be better than me. You go to school, you be better than me." And that has just stuck with me. Like every step of my life going forward, it's like I do it because he told me to. He told me to be better than him, and I know that me striving to do that makes him proud. So that's it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about in your chapter, you talked about growing up in a two-parent household, and that you just assumed when you were growing up that all of your friends had their father in the household. So why don't you share what impact do you think fathers not being in the household is having on the Black community today?
You know, it's very detrimental. And that's no
Right.
no shade or disrespect to
Right.
single mothers who are doing their best.
Mm-hmm.
But I think is detrimental in a variety of ways. One, that there's so much pressure put on the single mother to try to fulfill more than what her natural role should be. And I
Yes.
think that puts a lot of pressure and wear and tear and stress on her mentally, physically, emotionally, because there's no one there to kind of to share in that journey. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one, and maybe the biggest thing. But also when it comes to the kids, there's a level of uh balance that has to happen, because for me, like I got to experience that balance. So where my
Mm-hmm.
mother was the emotional nurturer, my father was more of the practical and the logical, and sometimes stern, and
Yeah.
that allowed me to have a balance in my childhood, going and even going into my adulthood, that I think it proved to be rather beneficial to just how I go about everything. Is being
Wow.
able to be well balanced, and manage my emotions and manage my personality and everything of that nature.
Wow. Yeah, that's the mouthful, that balance. That
Hmm.
I don't know if I've looked at it that way before, heard it explained that way before, but that's a really, really key point,
Yeah.
that balance that it creates. Wow. So you shared in your chapter about playing chess with your father. So
Oh
what
yeah.
are the So what are some of the key things that you learned? Because you said those chess lessons at the table lasted 18 years. So what were some of the key lessons that you learned by spending that time with your dad?
Well, the first thing was patience. That I learned patience more than anything, because I was so used to, like any other child, right? You're so used to playing
Mhm.
fast-paced games, the quickest to win. And
Right.
when he introduced me to chess, that was the first time I ever known of any game that would move that slow. And so it was very, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to play with him, because again, like I said a minute ago, that whatever dad did, I wanted to do as well. And I remember the first time I even seen him play chess was one of his former high school buddies had stopped by the house randomly one day,
Mhm.
um, on a Sunday, and he poured out the chessboard. And then my first time seeing it, I'm like, well, what is this? And after that, well, I couldn't play that. I couldn't play with him that day, because it was one of those, adults are playing, you go over there. It was one of those
Yeah.
moments. But when he got the opportunity to sit with me and show me, it was just, I was in awe of not so much the game, but
Mhm.
but very much in awe that I felt like dad was showing me how to play this man's game. I felt like he was
Yeah.
showing me how to play this thing that adults do. So
Right.
it was almost like he was like bringing me into his world a little bit. And
Mhm.
but through the game, I learned patience. I learned strategy. I learned how to think ahead, because that's what the game's all about. Thinking
Mhm.
2, 3, 4 moves ahead, anticipating what's coming your
Yeah.
way. He taught me that through the game. And probably another really good one was how to lose gracefully, and
Uh,
take losing as a learning experience. So whenever I lost to him, he would immediately go into, here's what you did wrong. Here's where you could have beat me. Here's where you messed up. And it's like, as he's doing that, it just kind of taught me that, what do I get out of pouting because something didn't go my way? I get a whole lot more out of learning why it didn't go my way and how it can go my way the next time.
wow. Those are some important lessons too. So to know that you could gain so much
Hmm.
from a game of chess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not only that, like that quality time spent, like you said, you felt like he brought you into his world and showed you
Hmm.
something that adults do. So how powerful is that?
Yeah.
a whole different level of respect. So that's really cool. So let's see. You talked about. You said I learned a lot from my father and how he raised me. It just dawned on me that I would have to alter some of the approach because I had a little girl we named Lyric.
Yes.
So what are some of the things? What do you feel you had to alter because you were raising a girl?
My I had to develop a softness approach.
Yeah.
Um, because one now, so I have a younger sister,
Mhm.
and I had to kind of remember, or like remember what I observed and how my dad was with her.
Mhm.
Very very soft, nurturing, always protecting,
Mhm.
and the way that he would teach her things was, a little, not too different, but I could tell it was different because she was a girl.
Mhm.
And I realized, like, okay, so that's the kind of approach I probably need to have here, and but what I really took away from that was how dad was able to change the way he did this. So it wasn't like a one size fit all. I treat all my kids the same way. He knew that I
Mhm.
was different than my sister,
Right.
despite the fact that our names are almost identical. We're not twins at
Oh,
all.
really?
So yeah, her name is Carla. So
Oh,
it,
okay.
yeah, but but we're different, and I took notice to how he changed his approach with her, and that's what I realized that I had to kind of do with Lyric. She's, her
Mhm.
own individual. She's, she's going to look for a different level or a different type
Mhm.
of nurturing from me than she would my wife. So it was important for me to kind of feed on that and learn that, and
Yeah.
for my approach when it comes to her.
Mhm. That's awesome. I mean, what a blessing for you to have been able to observe, because you had a sister, you also
Hmm.
learned those lessons from your father and how he raised the two of you and that softness that he brought when he was dealing with her. So, I
Yeah,
mean, you're a blessed, a really blessed individual. No, seriously, to have
yeah,
had your father in the home and been able to experience how it was really supposed to be done, and then to be able to
yeah.
carry that over into your own parenting. So that's a blessing in itself. A blessing in
Hmm.
itself. Um, so I want to read a part of your chapter where you said, "My perspective on Black fatherhood feels and has always felt like royalty. With it comes a unique responsibility to teach, protect, encourage, and love." And
Hmm.
so I know that you do some mentoring, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you say to the young Black man who may be struggling emotionally because his father isn't present?
The one thing that I would say is you can't change what happened, right? Or the way things were in your childhood, right? But what you can
Right.
do is be everything that you wanted. That's what you
Mm,
have the power to do. You have the power
powerful.
and the ability to be everything that you wanted, be everything that you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't do you any good or it doesn't do any good in the event that you're becoming a father yourself. It doesn't do you any good to mirror what you did not see, because now
Mm,
you not only damage yourself, but you also damage your child from that.
true.
It's a healing process. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but a part of your healing can come from being what you needed and what you wanted to
Wow.
your child. And in the event that you're not, not yet a father, right? Then,
Mm-hmm.
again, you can still be that, because fatherhood is a preparation. It seems like it just kind of springs up on us, once the baby's here, and it's like, oh my God, I'm a father, but
Yeah.
that's not how, it's like there is a process, like the way you just kind of govern about life. A lot these little things prepare you for fatherhood, even when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to dealing with other people's children. The way that
Yeah.
you govern yourself in relationships, however any type of one-on-one relationship, really. is there's always a piece of it that prepares you for fatherhood. So again, you gotta be what you want it, be what you need it.
That's really solid advice. Really solid advice. Thank you for that. Wow. So, what, if anything, have you learned or gained from being a part of this project, the
Well,
Black Father
definitely.
perspective?
Yeah, I learned a lot. First of all, all of my co-authors were just amazing, amazing men, amazing fathers, a couple of grandfathers, which, I love the grandfather aspect, and I can't wait till I get to cross that bridge because, because I grew up without my grandfather. They both passed away prior to me being born. So
Mm,
I don't know what that's like, but I'm looking forward to it. And it's one of those things where now, so here I am observing dad again. Dad is a
yeah,
grandfather, right? So now I'm like, okay, so you let the grandchild get away with whatever they want. Okay, all right, let me note
right.
that. Okay. So it's a lot of things like that I just kind of take note of, and I'm looking forward to that part. But in doing this, I learned, like I said, I learned a lot about um, the other perspectives of how Black fatherhood is, um, the different journeys that we've all had. Everyone
Mhm.
had their own unique journey, but it all led to what I call the same promised land, which is
Mhm.
that being that powerful father figure, grandfather,
Yeah.
whatever level of fatherhood you're in, but just being powerful, being impactful, being insightful to those who
Mhm.
are entrusted under you. So it was just a beautiful thing to see. And I felt it was, it kind of reminded me of like the like the Avengers, right? Like everybody just kind of came together and let's fight this evil of stereotypical negative narratives. Like let's do this.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Well, I certainly felt like Wonder Woman trying to lasso you all up. Since he's talking about superheroes. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I think that I heard you say that you actually love to write. Like you've been
Yeah,
writing for a while. So, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about telling their story? Because you told your story so beautifully, and I know it will impact many. With some people, they're on the fence. Should I tell my story? Should I share? So, what advice would you have someone who's thinking about sharing their story or writing their story?
I think you should. I would tell them that they should do it because God gives us, He crafts our paths and our journeys, and sometimes as much as it is for us, it's also for someone else.
Yes.
And because I was there for a long
Mhm.
time. I convinced myself that I did not have a story worth telling. Like
Wow.
there's no way that I don't have a book in me. Like I didn't, because I used to view being an author or telling a story as, but I don't have nothing traumatic happened to me. Nothing
Mm,
tragic ever really happened. I mean, yeah, I lost some people, but that's life. So I don't, so
yeah.
what could I possibly tell? And it wasn't until I really just gave that up and just said
Mm,
that, I I have a story and it's going to impact somebody. And that was really
yeah.
when I wrote my first book, 10 Extraordinary Lessons from an Ordinary Dad.
Hmm.
When I wrote that, a big part of my motivation was just to say that I did it, just to say that I can do this. I
Wow.
did not expect for it to open the doors that it did. I did not expect for it
Hmm.
to create the new connections and network that it created for me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it did because now it shown me how powerful my story has been and how insightful it has been, even for those who don't have, like like for that is for those who don't, maybe they grew up without their dad, maybe they're a new
Hmm.
dad themselves, maybe they're a single mother and they need uh advice from a male's perspective on raising a son or a child in general. So and I wrote with that in mind. So that's what I would tell them. Your story is for somebody. So get to write it, or find someone to write it for you, but get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. So the book is titled The Black Father Perspective, What We Want America to Know. So what is it that you want America to know as it relates to you being a Black father in America?
We are here. We are here. We are present. We are changing the narrative. You no longer own our narrative. And
Amen.
there are many hurdles that we have already climbed over, and we'll climb over whatever other ones you want to give us, but we are here. So the misconception that we're always in the street or in jail or or creating children all around town with 3, 4, 5 different babies. No, that is not everyone's story, and that's not the majority of it. You know, we are present in our children's lives. We are very active. Okay, we married our children's mothers. Okay, so it's not, again. We are changing the narrative, and that has been. I felt like that was the power behind this whole project. This whole book was we are banding together to change the narrative, and it's getting done. This book is getting it done.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's just far greater than even I expected. Because I didn't, there are many of you in this project that I did not know. I didn't know you before we started this project. And to see, like you said, to see all of you come together and have such powerful testimonies about fatherhood, it's just been so refreshing and just so powerful. And the testimonies are already rolling in, for people who've already read it and have been impacted by it. And I just think it's going to just go far and wide and begin, I just wanted to start that conversation, to start to change the narrative. And I think we've accomplished that because the conversation is out there now and we're having it. And so I thank you so much for, sharing your voice in this project, because what you shared was so powerful and lends to the fact that we have legacy, and our legacy, everybody's legacy is not broken. And so I just think it's a powerful, very powerful story to tell. So I thank you for that. So lastly, because we're running out of time here, lastly, just tell everyone how they can connect with you, how they can purchase your books, just where to find you.
Okay. So all social media, CJ Avent, CJ Avent. That my author page particularly is Carlos J. Avent. MS. That's my author page. So all of my author journey, my mentoring journey, that's where I streamline all of that. That's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's Instagram. CJ Avent, Carlos J. Avent. That's where you'll find me. Then my the book, Black Father Perspective, that is on Amazon in ebook and print. You can get it through me directly for an autograph copy. Just send me what they say, slide in my DM. Yeah, just slide in my DM, and we'll take care of that too. And my other book, 10 Extraordinary Lessons from an Ordinary Dad, also on Amazon in ebook and print.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on this evening. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. We got lots of amazing comments over there. So thank you for joining us. And to our viewing audience, thank you for joining us for another segment of the LPE Author Chat series. And remember, if you are thinking about writing your book, head on over to www.LaBooPublishing.com and connect with us there. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Take care, be blessed, and have a great night.